Welcome back. In sports tonight, SPPNG Hunters coach Michael Marum has named his team for this weekend's match against competition leader Belly Bears. In his starting lineup, Timothy Lomai has replaced Edward Goma. Paul Tomic Jr. with this story.
Coach Michael Marum has retained the last weekend's side for this weekend's match, but included Timothy Lomai in the starting lineup. This weekend will be the round 22 of the Intrust Super Cup.
We still have a few more players nursing injuries there, so in the starting team, because Watovo, Ase, Adam, Enoch Maki, so there could be a few more changes before the game on Sunday. So, but the team from today that was named, I think we want to stick to that same lineup. But if we can't play those boys injured, we can't force them. So we have to look at the other options of playing the other players there. So again, some players are ready to come back into the side, the rehab group. But yeah, no, it's going to be a tough one this weekend. So
Wartovo Puara Jr., who's carrying an injury on his right knee, is also included on the list. And Coach Marum said it will depend on the progress of his recovery.
He's progressing well from since Sunday, Tuesday today. So he's recovered well for the last 2 days. So who knows what can happen probably in the next 2-3 days. So that's why I've just left him in the side there. So, but again, only wanted him to stay on because we were running out of halves in our game during our game last weekend. Also, the Jets were applying a lot of pressure on our boys.
The team for this weekend is fullback Blanda Bavu, the wings Butler Morris and Adex Wera, halves Ase Boas and Wartovo Puara Jr., props Enoch Maki and Esau Siune, second rowers Timothy Lomai and Adam Korave as captain, and locking the scrum is Brandy Peter. Interchanges Silas Gahuna, Ismail Balkawa, Benjamin Hetra, Watson Boas, Atebinawabo, Edward Goma and Tuvi Lepan. Marum said 3 players will be omitted before kick-off time on Sunday at 3 p.m. Paul Tomic Jr., NBC National Sports, Port Moresby.
PNG LNG Kumul's coach Michael Marum has thanked those that supported him during his playing career and coaching. He made mention of his former Digital Cup franchise that made his rugby league career a success.
A lot of people that probably contributed to my success as well. So, from the past, present, but I think we always privileged to have sponsors like Egmark in the Balway, the managing director John Nightingale and all those guys there really allowed me to work and take time off and concentrate on football as well. So, and that was really good to see. An
amazing career there for Marum. The second and final day of the Southern Conference Under-20 selection trials continued today at the National Football Stadium Oval 2. The tournament attracted parents, children and rugby league followers to watch their teams play. Paul Tomic Jr. reports.
The second day got off well with players and teams competed for the selection trials. The first game was between home team PRL1 with Royal Scala uniform playing against the Southern Blacks from the South's Rugby League competition. PRL1 held the lead in the first half and into half-time by 4 points to 0. In the second half, the Southern Blacks got together and played a bit different from the first half with a few drop balls and errors. The boys from the Moresby South electorate came back in the second half midway through picking up their game. A penalty kick for the Southern Blacks could not convert as they failed the second penalty attempt on the halfway. Southern Blacks came back at the far left-hand corner to score after the PRL1's defence were too slow in stretching out. Southern Blacks scored to level the scores at 4 points all. The next game was between PRL2 and Suburban team. Suburban gave the PRL2 a run for their money. The selectors will finalize the Under-20 Southern Zone team on Friday. Paul Tomic Jr., NBC National Sports, Port Moresby.
The City Pharmacy PNG Lewa's success at the International Cricket Council East Asia Pacific World Cup qualifier has been greatly supported by the Australian cricket legend Catherine Fitzpatrick. The Lewas finished top at the World Cup qualifier played in Samoa. Again, Paul Tomic Jr. reports.
It was the success of hard work, dedication and commitment. The City Pharmacy Lewas performed exceptionally well in Samoa last month, returned to a warm welcome reception at the Amini Park last week. Australian cricket legend Catherine Fitzpatrick's experience had guided the Lewas to their impressive performance in Samoa. Fitzpatrick, a former Australian cricketer, was recognised as the world's fastest women pace bowler. The Australian cricket great announced her retirement in 2007 from international and state cricket, intending to take up coaching. Fitzpatrick was brought to assist as an assistant coach by Cricket PNG in their Samoa tour. The CPL PNG Lewas are now back into full swing into training after their week-long break, and it's 7 more months to go before the next ICC Women's World Cup. Fitzpatrick said there is a huge potential for the girls to continue to be successful on the world stage. Paul Tomic Jr., NBC National Sports, Port Moresby.
Overseas sports, the Gold Coast Titans have announced Jared Hayne is free to play this Sunday after signing a 2-year deal with the club. Hayne said that he was devastated to learn that he couldn't return to his old club, the Parramatta Eels, after they failed to table him an offer.
It's tough because, obviously there was a few clubs that had offered, straight away, and, I always wanted to go back to Para. And I was waiting for Para's offer, I was waiting, and got to a point where I was having lunch with Timmy on Monday. I said, mate, what's going on? You know what I mean? You guys going to offer me a contract or not? I've got all these offers on the table and I haven't heard anything from you. And it's kind of tough because there's no one there at the moment to do all that sort of stuff. The CEO's away, and then he's just left yesterday. My staff got sacked, and Brad's the coach. He's not a guy that's meant to be doing the sort of contract. So it's kind of hard to put the finger on it. But at the end of the day, I had to make a decision, and it's obviously torn me apart, and it was tough emotionally. But I think deep down, it's it's the right one, and I think in the coming days when I'm obviously around the guys and get the boots back on, that will settle, and I'll be able to smile and move forward. I always knew it was a good place, and I think when things outside of football are right with the board and with the management and all that sort of thing, I think it makes the transition on the field a lot more easier, and that's what it's given me to be up here, and I'm excited to join the guys and look forward to playing. I think the biggest thing was all the stuff that's been happening at Para with the board and the NRL, so there was, when I first came back to Fiji, there was that kind of, we're getting words that there was no way that they'd register a contract with the fighting that was going on and the endo, and it was just kind of a bit of a schmozzle. So, it's sad and something that, obviously take a couple of days for me to get over and move on, but, I'm a professional, and, when it's time to, worry about footy, that's what I'll do.
Finally, in sports, the International Olympic Committee has slammed the World Anti-Doping Authority just ahead of the start of the Rio Games.
Instead of talking about Pele perhaps lighting the flame, Usain Bolt going for more records, Michael Phelps looking for medals number 23, 24 and 25. We're talking about this ugly stoush between the IOC and WADA. The IOC is literally spilling the drinks at their own party at the moment. Today they've come out severely criticising WADA, the timing of their report. They're casting aspersions on it, saying it should have been done sooner. They've endorsed the decision not to put a blanket ban on the entire Russian team, saying that would have been the nuclear option, and that's not what the Olympic movement stands for. We've heard in part from WADA in their defence. There'll be a more spirited defence, one would feel, tomorrow when Sir Craig Reedy files his report. But this was the head of WADA. He's also on the IOC board, so there's some conflicted roles there. But he is standing by his ground and by the decision, and we'll hear more tomorrow. But this is what he said in defence of WADA today.
I don't think I took it quite as serious as that. I have already had a word with Alex and will do so again tomorrow on the specific comment he made. It's not often that sport is confronted with what has come out of Russia over the last, whatever it is, 18 months. I mean, this is really, really difficult to handle, and it puts pressure on everybody. It puts pressure on the IOC, it puts pressure on athletes, it puts pressure on WADA, and it's perhaps a natural reaction to in this disturbed era.
Well, that's a moot point, but as Sir Craig Reedy suggested, the evidence was built up over 18 months. Board members from the IOC are saying the whistleblowers were apparent or made their case back in 2010, and so they should have acted on it sooner. But it's a bit like a bureaucracy requesting a report. How long is that report going to take? When the report is released, then they're not adhering to the findings, and now it seems trying to find ways to discredit that report. The McLaren report, he spent 53 days on it. He did say, the Canadian lawyer Richard McLaren, that he would have liked to have spent more time on it. But in the end, he's come out with his report, and that was the suggestion to blanket ban the Russians based on the evidence of state-controlled doping. Now, the timing, massively unfortunate, and that's admitted by Sir Craig Reedy. But what's he going to do? He gets the report. Is he going to put it on the shelf and ignore those findings with that timing? Now, the IOC, Thomas Bach, on the other hand, they've come out, as you mentioned in the introduction, suggesting a complete overhaul of WADA. So we've got these two bodies who should be aligned together, fighting the cause, now bashing heads just a couple of days before the biggest event on the calendar. It's amazing.
There's some sport that starts before the opening ceremony. I think we've got the Matildas playing tomorrow. I think they're up against Canada. And then the swimming is always one of the first events, isn't it?
The swimming program is going to kick off. Cam McAvoy, he'll be leading the way there, and he was quizzed about the prospect of the Russians competing. It was suggested by their agent that they'd been cleared to swim, so that's creating its own turmoil.
Regardless of what happens, I'm still going to rock up to the pool and do whatever session my coach gives me. I'm going to be behind that block for whatever races I'm in. I'm going to do the same race plan, the same race strategy, and absolutely nothing changes.
And that's sports for tonight. Antonia, it's back to you.
Thank you, Douglas. Stay with us. We'll return after the break with the finance news.